All right, so welcome, Victoria and Tiffany of Spirit Mamas to the show. I'm so thankful to have you here, and honestly, just thankful for this opportunity to connect with you guys again. I love you guys so much, so welcome. I'm just going to jump right in here, and I would love to hear more about how you both spiritually awakened, and also kind of a little bit about how you guys ended up coming together to create Spirit Mamas in general.
Hi, Kelly. Hi, everyone. I'm Tiffany, one half of Spirit Mamas. I'm so happy to be here. I'm like, yes, we finally get to do this with you, Kelly. So I am a Reiki master, a sound healer, intuitive, all the amazing things. And Kelly, I have been tapped into the spiritual realm since I can remember, since around the age of 8, where I can recall like my dreams and things kind of coming into reality that were in my dreams. And so, but for years, I just kind of only told really close friends and family and kind of hid it in a closet until my first son, Logan. Oh, yeah, by the way, I'm a mom too. I have 2 boys, Logan, 12, Lennox, 2. He'll be 3 in August. And so when I had Logan, who's the oldest, I feel like I really kind of went through a transition where I was trying to figure out, like, how can I step out of this closet? Like, there's a larger purpose for who I am. And I really wanted him to see who I was spiritually and how I wasn't just stuck in this box of religion. And so it was kind of a transition there where I started kind of exploring Reiki, became a Reiki healer. And then when Lennox was born, it was really like another reality check of like, okay, Tiff, you really have only told so many people about this, but how can you stand in your truth? Because I have been asking the universe, like, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? And through many years, I realized that I'm a healer. And, what does that look like? It looks like a lot for me. So whether it's me having a conversation or me doing Reiki on someone, it's really about me helping people understand the power that they hold within. And I think when Lennox was born, it was like, I had a breakdown that was kind of like, okay, like, this is what you're supposed to be doing and stop running away from it. And so that is where I think I truly started to lean into how can I be a better mom for my boys so that they see who I am spiritually as a human being and how I'm not afraid to speak my truth and live in my truth. And through that, Victoria and I have been friends for a while. And so I'll let her tell her story. But I think, the thing we had in common was our sons were born, within months apart. So Lennox, my youngest, and then Sebastian, her oldest soon. And we just had this thing in common of like, how do we really step into our power, but remind moms how to step into their power too. So Victoria, I'll let you tell your like woo side, and then you can like bring it all together.
I love it. I know it's so wild to think Sebastian will be the oldest soon. Hi, everybody. I'm Victoria, the other half of Spirit Mamas. I am an Akashic Records Reader, an inner voice and breathwork facilitator, and soon to be mama of 2. I'm currently incubating another son that'll be Earthside in, a month or so. But unlike Tiffany, I was not connected from a young age. It's funny, Kelly, you and I have talked about, the night terrors or dreams or things I used to have when I was younger that I really ran away from because they were kind of scary. And I think I just shut off that part of myself. And I really thought someone spiritual or intuitive or in tune with the spirit realm had to look a certain way. So, my mom had dreams that came true. And so because my gifts didn't look like that, I was like, no, like, I'm not spiritual. I'm not intuitive. That's not a thing. And when Tiffany and I were working together in marketing, she kept telling me, you really are, like, there's so much more there. And I really shied away from it. And it wasn't until a miscarriage in 2018 that I just started to question, I think, all of the things that I thought I knew about myself and all of the labels and all of the shoulds and all of the stuff that people tell you are in the world. And when I had Sebastian in 2019, I started that same questioning journey that Tiffany was on of like, okay, there has to be more here, right? Like, I can't just go to this corporate 9 to 5 job and have that be it. Like, I want to help people. And I had gotten my Akashic Records certification after the miscarriage more for me to kind of heal myself and empower myself. And this little light bulb kind of went off like, hey, you can do this for other people. And so our journey really started there with Tiffany and I just having a conversation saying, hey, we have these things that have helped heal us. Maybe we can use them to help others. And Tiffany was the one that was like, let's call ourselves Spirit Mamas. And, you know, the domain name was an angel number to purchase. And I think when we started, we still have no clue some days, if I'm being really honest, but we like really had no clue what this could become. We just said, hey, we want to help people. We want to offer our one-on-one services and have that be it. And since then, we've come to realize that like when women come together in sacred circle, there's so much power there. There's so much healing there. There is so much community that I think both of us were really missing out on and didn't even know it, because you've been on retreat with us, Kelly. Like, there's an alchemy. Like, women are drawn to each other for a reason, whether it's because you have to heal something similar, you have a similar energy, you've experienced previous lifetimes together. But that's been really magical for us to realize that we can hold these really sacred spaces and containers with the highest integrity and have women come out of them like completely transformed. And that's really humbling to know that we're able to help people do that. And we like to say, you know, like, we're not gurus, we don't have all the answers, but if we can show you that you have it inside of you, because you do, then, you know, on our job, quote unquote, I would like to say. So I don't know, Spirit Mamas is so much more than any circle or container or thing that we create. I think it's a movement, and I'm just really, really proud of what's moved through us to be able to help others.
I love it. And you guys know how much I love your work. So,
and we love you.
and yeah, that retreat was definitely transformative and just such a beautiful experience. It's been months and I still feel like I'm in the glow of Sedona. So I definitely can like attest firsthand that you guys definitely create some magic within your containers, because I have experienced it myself. So I'm so thankful for the work you guys do. So what type of advice do you maybe have for moms right now, or moms who may be struggling, or moms who are, I think a lot of times, and my kids are obviously older now, they're moving into adulthood, but I remember when they were younger, one of the biggest struggles that I personally dealt with was like trying to figure out who I was in the mix of all this. It was like my identity suffered so much in motherhood, and I felt really, really lost and disconnected from self. And all of a sudden felt like I'm supposed to fit in this certain box of what a mother is supposed to look like, and the selflessness that we're all supposed to feel for our children and all these things. And it created a lot of confusion and disconnect with myself. And I think a lot of mothers, and I've talked to a lot of other women over the years, tend to feel these things as well, especially new mothers. So what type of like advice would you guys offer?
I would say to start, allow yourself to feel these feelings, right? It's really uncomfortable, and you want to move through it, and you want to get to this place of joy and happiness and feeling like yourself again. But there is a reason that you're questioning all of these things, and that shedding takes a little bit of time. So, you know, first and foremost, allow those feelings to arise. Don't numb them out. Don't try and push them back down. And I found breathwork at a time when I was a new mom with Sebastian, and I had never experienced the kind of natural high of that. And I think what we like to share with women too is that we have a whole toolkit of tools, and what works for me may not work for you, may not work for Tiffany, or may not even work for you on like any given day. So just because you want to stop and do some breathwork and meditation today, maybe tomorrow you don't want to do that. You want to just chill out and read a book or take a walk in nature. But it starts with stopping and asking yourself what you need. And I find as a new mom, you're so caught up in everything around you and everything happening that like, that's the last thing you end up doing, right? You don't even shower half the time. Like, of course, you're not going to stop and ask yourself like how you're feeling or what you need. But that is probably the best thing that you can do. And then give yourself whatever it is that comes up, even if it seems far-fetched, even if it seems crazy. You have to choose yourself, and you have to choose this self-care, because that's how you climb out of the hole, or you blossom into this next version of yourself. You also have to kind of like not give a fuck, but that comes with time, right? Like that's not going to come right away. What would you say, Tiff? I know just like the self-care is huge for both of us.
Yeah, self-care is so important just because you can't pour from an empty cup. And so I think what Victoria and I remind moms is that, you know, you have to take that time for yourself to replenish yourself so that you can give back to your little ones. And even if you aren't like a mom to a human, right? Like you may be a mom to a project or to a group. We remind women in general that you hold everything you need within. And so if you take that moment to just kind of be quiet, be still, and figure out what works for you, whether it's meditation, whether it's yoga, whether it's a quick walk outside or breath work, right? We offer, or we provide a number of things that we feel like moms can tap into to just, you know, reconnect so that you can give back. And Kelly, you have older kids, and I'm coming into that adolescence phase. So it's a lot of times where I look at Logan and he, you know, he's about to go through puberty and there's a disconnect, right? It's almost like their brains turn off for a minute. And I was looking at him the other day and I was just like, okay, we're so close. Like he's a mama's boy. We used to do everything together because he was the only child for so long. But I also have to realize like he's going into this phase where he has these outside influences. And so I want to make sure I am still very open so that he feels comfortable coming to me, because I know he's about to face some things that I won't be able to protect him from every single day. And so it's interesting having kids so far apart in age, because I'm going through that new mommy phase again with my youngest one, where, you know, I have to be very attentive to him and in tune to his needs, but then also seeing this little boy that'll be 13 soon, and he's asking me about girls and just all the things, and coming home from school was like, guess what so-and-so did? And then, you know, through this motherhood thing, there is not a book for it. And I found myself, because each phase is different. And so I find myself now in this space where I'm having to reconnect and kind of check in with myself to be, okay, what can I provide Logan? Because I haven't done this before. How do I talk to him? How do I let him know it's okay to just be who he is? And I think, you know, we go back to how Victoria and I started this. It really was started with a conversation of, we knew we had our spiritual gifts, but I was like, Victoria, I really want to make sure my kids remember who they are in this world, and that they never forget their powers, because so often we talk about these spiritual awakenings. I would love for my kids to never have that, right? I would love for my kids to just always know that they are powerful as shit and that they can do whatever. And so checking in with myself right now, I'm like, what can I provide Logan so that he knows like it's okay for you to still do those affirmations or share these spiritual gifts with your friends. And right now he doesn't have any issues with doing that. But as you know, when they get into the whole like cool kid thing, it's like you shy away from that. But as long as he knows he has this foundation that he can come back to, that's very important for me. So yeah.
If you said something, oh, sorry, Kelly, it reminded me, you've never done this before. And that's such a beautiful reminder to new moms that the child has never done this before. You've never done this before in this lifetime anyway. And to give yourself a little bit of grace, right? Because you're learning together. And I think we forget that. We think we have to have it all figured out. We think we have to know everything, and that we have to follow the manual and the book, and that there's some secret club that's like meeting somewhere, like sharing all this information. It's not. You're learning on the job. And so reminding yourself of that, I think, is so important. So I'm glad you said that, Tiff.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too, because, you know, something that I've been realizing as my children are entering into adulthood and my oldest is already 23, so she's there, is that we think like, oh, once they're older, everything's going to get easier. But I mean, I can still resonate with that same sentiment of like, well, I've never been a mom to adult children, and they're making all these choices, not all that I agree with. And they have like this, their, own free will and their free spirits. And you worry about them, I feel like, even more because they're out driving, they're separated. You don't have your eyes on them every day. You're not there to like protect them. And so I think it's interesting that never really changes no matter how old our kids get. And so I definitely can relate to that. And I feel like the advice that you guys offered here as well is really great advice for anyone, whether you're a new mother or not. Because so many of us are walking through life with like our jobs, our responsibilities, all these different things that are outside of ourselves. And so mother or not, I feel like so many humans have lost touch with themselves, lost touch with their needs, have stopped checking in because we feel like we don't have time, or we're just focused, like I said, outward. So I feel like that advice is great really for anyone. And I loved what you said, Victoria, like, and this is something I've really been realizing a lot lately, is that our needs are changing on a moment to moment basis. And that's why we have to continuously be returning back to that, checking in, because what I needed, 2 hours ago is going to be completely different than what I need today or tomorrow, and on and on. And so there isn't just like this one thing that we need. Those needs are constantly evolving and changing. And I think that the more that we are taking just those moments, like, do I need to breathe? Do I just need to move? Do I need rest? Do I need food? Do I need water? Just these really simple things that go neglected. How often do we hear people say like, oh, it's 3 o'clock, I haven't had a bite of food today, So.
That's wild to me. I could never not eat, but that's also me. And I think too, like realizing that it's okay. You can hold dual emotions simultaneously, that like you can be upset about something, but still hold so much love in your heart. Or you can be worried about your child who's growing up and the choices that they're making, but you can still know that they have the power within them and they're going to be okay. And like, I think people shy away from that. Like, it feels like, oh, it has to be all one thing or the other. But actually, I think if you realize you can hold more than one emotion, that's when you're truly rising. That's when you're truly becoming your best self. And you know this, Kelly, the path of spirituality is not all love and light. Like, shadow work is important. Going there is important. And again, I come back to this idea of like, you have to choose joy. You have to choose every day to do this for yourself. And some days it's really fucking hard and you don't want to. And that's okay if maybe you take a break for the day or whatever, but come back to it and come back to yourself, come home to that place within you, because it's important, and we don't do it often enough.
No, I love that saying that says, come back as many times as you need to. And that's over and over. We're called back to that space. And I agree. Sometimes, we do need to take breaks. Sometimes we need to just allow ourselves to be this really human aspect that we are as well. And just kind of feel all that stuff. And even if it's not always the most positive, whether that's sometimes feeling sorry for ourselves or feeling really intense anger that's irrational, whatever, but there's a space for all of that, because like you were saying, Victoria, we are expansive beings. We have the capacity of holding so much within our beingness. And so, yes, definitely, I think being open to understanding that and just being willing to actually be where we are and be in that place with complete love and acceptance, without judgment of ourselves, without shame for what we're experiencing, but to really just be where we are and say, okay, but like you say, you don't unpack and live there if it's not the best, healthiest, highest vibrational space, like visit, do what you need to, feel your stuff. And I always say, it's always about that bounce back, right? Like, how quick can we bounce back from these things? Because the truth is, on the human journey, nobody ever gets to a place where they're riding high vibe all the time. So it really is like, what tools do we have to bring ourselves back to that space? So can you ladies tell us a little bit how energy healing can benefit mothers?
Yeah, so it was life-changing for me. So we talk about, pouring from an empty cup. And I feel like there were several years in my life when Logan was a lot younger where I was trying to figure it out. I was running on zero and I was like, it has to be something more. And then that's when I found Reiki. And for me, Reiki was life-changing to the point where I still go once a month to my Reiki master and have her do body work on me, even though I probably do Reiki on myself once a day. But I mean, energy healing is just life-changing because it's really connecting the human to the spiritual and kind of making them coexist. And I always tell people who ask me, well, what is Reiki? And I always say, okay, so if you've been in a car accident and you go to a chiropractor, you'll go to that chiropractor for 6 months to a year, and then you'll feel better. And then more than likely, you are going back to that chiropractor again because your back starts hurting like in the next 2 years or, whatever time it takes. You usually go back. And I said, that is because you aren't aligned on the spiritual. So whatever isn't aligned on the spiritual won't be aligned in the physical. And so what I'm doing with my Reiki practice is aligning you on the spiritual level so that things in your physical life will be on track the way they should be. So it's the balance between the spiritual and the physical, and any type of energy healing is doing exactly that, whether it's breath work, whether it is, sound healing, whatever. It's really trying to connect to that spiritual part of you so that it can like balance itself out here in the physical. And so for me, energy healing, like when I found out what it was, it's been life-changing. Like I'll probably always try to explore some type of energy healing to some nature so that I can always make sure I'm okay on the spiritual so that things in my life will be okay in the physical. Because I literally, when I started going to my Reiki healer and she started just doing like my monthly sessions, things in my life started to change drastically to the point where like when I go back to my journals, I'm like, shit, like that, I was deep in some shit. And then I started doing this, you could just see how things change, right? And so I think it's very interesting, like once you get involved, to see how this energy healing really does make things manifest the way you want into your life. What you got to add, Victoria?
For me, it's interesting. It's more around noticing what was my energy versus what was other people's energy. So I don't think I ever realized how open I was and how much I was carrying that was other people's shit. And so when I started energy clearing and really working through each of my chakras and figuring out, okay, what's me and what's someone else, I very religiously like clear my energy every night before bed and make sure that I'm not carrying that into the next day, into my dream state, into anything. And that has made such a huge difference for me because I don't know if anyone listening knows human design, but I'm a projector and I really take on a lot of people's energy. And so learning more about myself, my energetic field has really just helped me also identify in those around me, like when Sebastian's having a tantrum, I can realize, okay, that's his energy. And this is how I can help him instead of taking that on. I feel like as a mom, we take on so much from our spouses and our kids and those around us. And it's only when we can get clear on ourselves that we're able to hold the space for someone else. So for me, it's been about like that exploration and really figuring out like, ooh, okay, that icky feeling, is that me? Or is that like, because my son doesn't feel good and he's coming down with a cold? You can become that in tune with yourself and your surroundings when you start to do this work.
Oh my gosh, I agree with everything both of you have said, basically. And Reiki has been life-changing for me as well. So I really relate to that so deeply. And what I really love about it too, in the work I do, which is a little bit different because I work with a lot of like women who have pretty severe trauma, but it's such a nurturing way to help ease that without expecting or asking them to be confronting necessarily all of these things for their past. It's actually, I can say, hey, we're going to actually do something that's really self-care for you. You can turn on some music, relax. How often do we take that time for ourselves anyways, and be able to help them heal on that cellular and energetic level. And I also really resonate with the absorption of other people's energy. I also feel like that was such a profound understanding for me as well. Like I spent a lot of years thinking I was insane. Like literally, like I was like, oh, if I went to a doctor, I would definitely be on medications because, I'm so absorbent of things. And so I was constantly just feeling like so many different emotions coming at me and just realizing, oh, none of this is really mine. A lot of this, at least some of, obviously I have my own stuff, but a lot of this is just stuff that I'm absorbing, that I'm carrying, that I'm taking on. And I even see it in like the way that I will worry about someone, like worrying, like someone tells me they're in some type of life situation and I find myself in bed, like literally having physical, visceral reaction to, well, are they going to be okay? Are they going to figure it out? And maybe they can do this. And it's like, while I want to help everyone, it's also realizing that me sitting around worrying on their situation is actually doing the opposite of that. But I think it is that taking in of energy, and I see it in that really clear way when I catch myself like in those state of minds, in that state of mind, thinking about what other people are contending with. So I agree with so much of that. So I know you guys started Spirit Mamas to cater to young moms primarily, or moms with young children primarily, but I feel like your business has evolved so much to support all women, really. Like I know that, like I said many times already, my children are much older, and yet I have been so drawn to your guys's message and the work you do and the beauty of it all and the energetics of it all. So I do want to like kind of let my listeners know that yes, while they do focus mainly on that, they really have so much value to offer the world in general, and they're doing such great work. So could you kind of talk with us a little bit about the types of services and events that you offer that can really benefit all women?
Want me to go, Victoria? Okay. You know what? I think what's so beautiful about what we've created is when I first went through what I considered my spiritual awakening, I felt so alone. So I had my Reiki master, and I would have these random, and I call them random, even though they weren't, but they seem random because, as you know, when you're going through a spiritual awakening, you find pockets of people and then they disappear all of a sudden. And I know now that was just part of my journey so that I could learn how to truly depend on myself and see the power that I had within. But I think the beauty of Spirit Mamas is we've created this amazing, beautiful community for women who are on this spiritual journey to have support. So we have a membership, a monthly community where we have moms who we chat with every day, I swear, about everything. Like, I'm having a worse day, or did you know this eclipse? And we literally help each other out. And we also do monthly energy healings, our containers with them. That's a part of the membership. We also hold our full moon circles every month, which has been just amazing. We started off, Victoria and I started off like offering our own personal service. So I would do my personal healings, and so would Victoria. And then we were like, let's do this full moon circle. And that has expanded to our in-person retreats. I'm like a in-person type of person. Like, I just love it. I love and hate energy, but I love to be around people. And so I was like, we should really try like an in-person retreat. And so we held our first one last year in the North Georgia mountains. We just finished one in Sedona, which Kelly, you were a part of. And then we'll have another in-person retreat this fall, again in the North Georgia mountains. And we're hoping to expand internationally next year. And so it's just turned into this beautiful offering. And then on top of that, I think Victoria and I have taken time to really figure out how our energies work together, which is so powerful. And so we have other containers like our Healing the Mother Wound container, which I'll let Victoria talk a little bit more about that. But it's a 4-week container where we bring women together and we talk about the mother wound. And then we also have expanded our personal services. And it's just become this beautiful thing. And you talk about how we've evolved, and we're already thinking about what's next. And it comes so naturally because I truly believe that there's no coincidence that Victoria and I work together in corporate, that we definitely hit it off, and we're spirit sisters. And what we do together is build this beautiful community of women who are tapped into their spiritual selves, or maybe not. And we're helping them uncover what they hold within. So, but Victoria, I'm sure you have more to add. I feel like I was like zoomed through that.
No, that was perfect. I think, what I've loved is just, it's grown and changed as we've grown and changed. So, as we continue to evolve, it will continue to evolve. And I love that this morning, I literally just said, we're a movement. That's the first time I think I've said that, but that to me feels right. Like we're more than just any box that you can put around us. And I think you said it perfectly, Kelly. We, yes, have, mom containers and things like that, but even as mamas, we're multidimensional. Mom is just one part of who we are. And we have so many women who come to us that are like, I'm not a mom. Can I join? Absolutely. You still have that creative energy of birth within you, whether it's to birth a creative project, to birth, something at work, to mother nature, to mother a pet. Like every single woman has that energy inside. And so we, yes, have these sacred containers that we've created, but I know that the sky is the limit for us and what we're going to do. And so right now, healing the mother wound is one of our favorite things to hold. We work through the lower chakras, starting at the root up to the heart. And each week we focus on a different chakra to help unleash what's there. And we work with our healed ancestors because their energy is so potent. And any healing that you do, whether it's working on the mother wound or not, you're healing more than just yourself. You're healing future generations, you're healing past generations, and even beyond your cellular family. One person raising their vibration truly raises the vibration of the collective. And I know that sounds like super woo-woo and a little out there, but it's true. You have the power to create this ripple effect in your life. And you do it so naturally just by living your truth and speaking who you are and being who you are every single day. And I think that's kind of the core thing we come back to, no matter what the container is it's okay to be you. It's okay to be perfectly imperfect. It's okay to not have all the answers. We're here to just hold space for you so that you can figure it out. And honestly, a lot of our community holds space for us too, which is the really beautiful thing, is that it's just amazing. Like I again, couldn't have predicted that this is what it would feel like, or this is what it would be like. But I know that I'll keep chasing this high for the rest of my life now, in whatever form Spirit Mamas takes, because this is what we're meant to be doing. And our energy together is, I think the first time Tiffany and I did a divine feminine healing together, we looked at each other afterwards and was like, holy shit, we did that. That was so powerful. And I think too, any woman can do that. And that's the beauty of this, right? It's just, we're a lighthouse for you to show you what's possible. You have all of these gifts inside of you too. And even if you don't want to have a spiritual business or do anything like that, that's fine. But we're here to just remind you that you can have more, be more, choose more joy. There's always more to be had, and not in a greedy way, but just because you deserve it, and so many times I think women, we don't even ask for more because we think it's not possible, or we think it's not possible for us. And it is. We're here to show you that it's possible. And I just looked over and saw 222 and I'm like, oh, of course.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I've had so many chills during our interview already. Y'all are doing things to me. I love what you say though about what else is possible, and really anything is possible. And I worked with a mentor a few years ago, and that's one thing that she really taught me that has stuck with me. Is she, when I would be feeling down or whatever, or things aren't falling in place the way I want, or things, whatever, she gave me a mantra that basically was what else is possible? Meaning anything is possible. What else can I create from this space? What other, when I'm tossing around these kind of limiting beliefs and these conditioned narratives that maybe are keeping me stuck, instead of staying in that space, moving into this expansive space of what else is possible and being excited about that, being hopeful for that. And so I absolutely love everything you guys have both said, basically. But yeah, just so resonant with so much of it. So I'm sure that my listeners are going to want to reach out to you. I really do want to recommend checking out their in-person retreat that they have coming up. Like I said, I've been on retreats. I'm telling you, they are magical. You will not regret the investment. But where can my listeners go to learn more about your containers and your retreats and your services and all this amazingness that you guys offer?
They can visit us at spiritmamas.com or check us out on Instagram at spirit.mamas. We are always open to DM conversations, and we really hope that you stop by and just say hello, even if you never join an actual container of ours. I think our social media is such a high vibe place that we welcome anyone and everyone to come join us. And we want to offer all of your listeners, Kelly, a free month trial of our Spirit Mamas membership. So as Tiffany said, you will get these amazing live virtual events with us, but we also have an on-demand library of breathwork and meditation and sound healing that you can access at any time. And the high vibe group chat that we have going is the best. Like these moms are amazing. And we also, as part of that group, you'll be the first to know about any new stuff we create or have going on. You get discounts on our programs. So we hope you guys will join us.
And as always, I will have links in the box below to make it really easy for everyone to find you guys. And so before we go, one thing I always like to end these with is I would love for each of you just to share one piece of parting wisdom that you feel inspired to share that comes to you.
So I would like to say that sometimes this journey can seem really hard and difficult at times, but just remember that we are all on different journeys to the same place. And that is really just to connect with source and to truth.
I love it. Thank you.
And I would just say to anyone listening that you are worthy of your dreams. You are worthy of this crazy idea that maybe you've had in the back of your head for a long time. You're worthy of love. You're worthy of support. You can do anything that you want to. And even if today doesn't feel like your day, you can always, always, always try again tomorrow. And keep turning your head to the sun, keep shining bright, keep opening your heart, even though it's hard. People heal more than they hurt if you let them. And we love you so much.
That's so beautiful. Thank you, ladies, so much. Honestly, this is probably one of my favorite interviews, I have to say. So thank you so much.